Hey guys, so we just got a new general, Totila. Now, before we go any farther, let's get the pronunciation out of the way so y'all don't yell at me in the comments.
Totila. Totila.
Tortilla.
Totila. Totila.
Tequila. So I guess I can either say tortilla or tequila, and that is how we will be pronouncing him from now on. So, don't yell at me about the pronunciation. His name is Tequila now. Alright, so let's take a look at Tequila. First thing we want to look at is the base stats. Overall, this base stat looks pretty decent. Pretty standard for a premium general. No march size off the gate, so nothing crazy there. Just pretty standard premium base stats. When we get to full skill, he really steps up his game. His stats are pretty solid across the board. The HP is a little bit low, and he does have decent march size, but the ground generals especially have pretty solid march size. So this is a little bit low for a ground general, but nothing too crazy. Specialty wise, nothing really special at all. It gets a 6% march size, so that's nice. That helps him out. Pretty standard for specialty. Covenant and skin, he just has the Covenant. He doesn't have a skin, and it's the standard 10% across the board for the Covenant, which is about average for as far as Covenants go. Attributes, about what you'd expect to see for attributes. Quick note on this one. These numbers were calculated for level 35 generals instead of the level 30, which most of my other spreadsheets are. I just transferred all this data. I don't remember why I calibrated this to a level 35 general, but that's what it's calibrated to if you want to know. Now let's look at the numbers that we're really interested in, the total numbers. If we're looking at the raw attack damage, Tequila Tortilla is top. He beats Such It by 2% points, which is, I don't know why they would calibrate it to be him being 2% higher. I guess that comes from his specialty, his attributes, but I just think it's funny that he's just minusculely better. In terms of defense, he is very defensive. He has the highest in defense. Nothing too crazy above the others, though. In terms of HP is not great. He's fallen behind the other ground generals by a good bit. Overall march size, as you can see, 14% total march size, which is where a good bit of them fall. Pretty middle of the pack for ground generals. So as far as what these things do effectively, let's see what this calculates out for the effective attack. Now this one is based on a K40 rally spot, extra 2.5 million march size, tier 15 ground troop attack, which I did double check, and a 2000% base buff. In terms of total damage, he comes in third place between Alexander and Such It. Now, quick note on Alexander, most of his does come from that massive 30% march size, and Such It has a decent march size of 17%, and he just has solid stats across the board. So Such It and Tortilla are really close, and Alexander is not too far ahead, so it's really situation dependent on who's going to give you the best bang for your buck. Depends on what point in the game you're on. Later point in the game, the larger the march size, the more value you're going to get out of it. So Alexander the Great would be better for attack in those situations, and Such It will have a slight edge over Tortilla, but you probably won't even be able to notice the difference between these two at any level in the game. Now this new column here is what I call the effective survivability. It's literally just adding the defense and the hit points together. Hit points and defense work differently, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to combine them because they both have their uses in different situations, and distinguishing it between every situation is just way too much data to sift through, and it's far too situation dependent to give a clear winner. So this is just a general idea on how survivable a general will be. Overall, he's pretty solid. Third in terms of survivability, behind Such It once again, and Frigg, which Frigg was the general that came out before Tortilla, so we'd expect to see the newer generals up there. Such is still aging pretty well. And that's about all we have for the new general, Totila. As far as a main general goes, if you already have Suchet, I think Suchet is just the better version of Totila. While we're looking at Frigg, let's look at her total numbers, because somebody did ask about her in one of my later videos. Yeah, her damage is reasonably low. Nothing insanely lower than the others. So Frigg is more of a survivable based general. So I really wouldn't invest in her if you already have like Suchet. Suchet seems to be the best all-arounder for the ground generals at the moment. And if you want to look at specific generals and pick out which one you like, I have all the spreadsheets linked below. You can use them, you can sort them. You can pause the video and look through these numbers now. I've sorted through each of the stats, so you can look at those and look for yourself. Now, let's see how he's going to perform as an assistant, which I think that the assistant role is going to be, for most low spenders, free players, I think more people are concerned about that because it's easy to get one copy of a general, and then you can upgrade the specialties for reasonably low amount of money, or free if you're willing to grind, and you can get a decent assistant without breaking the bank. So we've already looked at his base skill. We've established that's pretty standard, nothing crazy. We don't get any extra past the base. We do get specialties, and we do get covenants. Now let's see the totals. For total attack, he's right behind Suchet once again. Pretty good. Frigg is down here in 8th place. In terms of defense, very defensive. The highest in defense. Slightly above Frigg. For hit points, he falls down to 7th, but nothing too crazy, not too far behind. Frigg is top in defense. Looking at the march size, Totila will give you an extra 6%, which is pretty average for a ground assistant. Nothing too crazy. Looking at the increased attack, this calculator is also calibrated for the tier 15 ground. We have Suchet in first, and Totila comes about 4 billion damage below him. And then in the survivability, second in terms of survivability, just behind Totila. And then Suchet falls below him. So it does appear like Totila is a good assistant for the balanced role. He's not the best in survivability, and he's not the best in damage, but he's second place in both. So there is a place for him as an assistant. Speaking of assistant, let me go check and see if any of the compatibility for him have been updated to the website. Okay, there's some information on Totila. Can pair with Frigg, Suchet, Sween Forkbeard, Pyrrhus, Luzon, Ludwig, Alexandra, Scipio, Carus, Turene, Epimenidos, Solt, Trajan, Oda, Peter the Great, Basil II, Sunsi, Robert the Bruce, and Dimitri. Cannot pair with Elise, Orlean, Maida, or Guan Yu. So I think not being compatible with Elise is going to be a sticking point for a lot of people. She's a very popular general because she's easy to get. Maida is also reasonably popular. He's pretty easy to get and a pretty decent general. There is no information on if he's compatible with Freya or not, so we'll have to see with that. No compatibility issue with skill books, so looks pretty solid overall. Looks like he'd be a good assistant. I think he would be a really good assistant for Suchet if you have Suchet. Or if you get him to 5 stars, then Suchet would be a good assistant for him. I think they're a pretty powerful combination. Alright, so there's your report on the new general Totila. If y'all found this video useful, leave me a like. If y'all have any information on the compatibility for Freya, leave a comment down below so people can know. And let me know what y'all think of this general. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.